kitchen again. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate. We are talking about gifts today. Gifts for your foodie and home cook friends. I am in a very crowded kitchen because I pulled out everything that I have and I wanted to talk through what makes a great gift for mostly the beginner cook or the your standard home cook, and then I'll talk about some more things that aren't necessarily necessary for maybe your more upscale home cook. Okay, so we have a lot to get through. I'm gonna start with a shout out to my husband for filming me today, which is nice. You get good, better angles. Okay, I do have a Instant Pot recipe going. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm gonna start with our first, I don't have to show everyone our excess medicines. We have mason jars. So I love mason jars. I think they are really useful for just storing food in general. But we have a great blog that went up, I think last week, about DIY gifts and gifts in jars essentially. And so it's kind of a twofold gift because A, you're giving them something fun in a useful container. So there's baking mixes, applesauce, soup mixes, energy bites, all that kind of stuff that you can put in a jar, put a cute label on it, and then you can give it to them. And it also makes a great gift for someone who is maybe just had a baby or isn't getting out of the hospital or recovering from an illness. You can give them like soup in jars and they can stick it in the freezer and heat it up whenever they need it. So it's just a good all-around gift. So I love jars, and also you can use them for mason jar salads, which we have a ton of information on our websites about mason jar salads because I love them for meal prep. So mason jars are great. I like these wide mouth, I don't know, I think this is maybe 32 ounces. They're really nice just in general, so I usually go with these size jars. And then little ones, these are also useful for, let's say you open our chicken is done. Say you open a can of tomato sauce or chipotles and adobo or whatever, and you need to store the rest of it. So just stick it in a jar. You can also stick it in the freezer for another day. So less food waste. In that same vein, we have Pyrex. So I love Pyrex. We registered for a bunch of it on our wedding registry, and I just think that it's really useful to have because it's glass. I like having glass rather than plastic, especially when it's going in the microwave. I trust it more going into the dishwasher, things like that. So I like the glass, and I really like this size in particular and this shape. The rectangles, they stack really nicely. They don't take up a ton of space in the fridge, so if you do like meal prep and you're prepping your lunches for the week, it doesn't take up a ton of room. So love Pyrex, or any glass storage container in particular. Okay, what next? Let's talk about the Instant Pot. I pulled out my, ooh, that's hot. I pulled out my Instant Pot and the air fryer, as well as the slow cooker. I didn't have room for it on the counter. But when it comes to the Instant Pot and the slow cooker in particular, they do the same thing. I mean, it cooks for a long period of time at a low temperature. So if I was gonna go between the Instant Pot and the slow cooker, you might as well just get the Instant Pot because it has both abilities. Now, Instant Pot and air fryer. The air fryer is fun. You can see it has like a fry basket. You can put French fries, Brussels sprouts, chicken tenders, breaded fish, whatever in it, a turkey breast, and air fry it. It's fast, gets up to temperature really quickly, makes it nice and crispy. But now, with the Instant Pot new lid, they created an air fryer lid. I don't have it, I know Clara does, so maybe she will give me some comments on how it works. So you can really get all three appliances in one. And I know Ninja has some similar products where you can get a bunch of different abilities in one machine. So that's nice. So what I have going on in the Instant Pot now is shredded chicken. So you can do chicken in the oven, you can do it in a pot, you know, let it cook for a long period of time in the slow cooker so that it breaks down. But to get shredded chicken, it can take a long time. So with pressure cooking, you can get shredded chicken in 15 minutes, which is nice. So I had it on high pressure for 10 minutes, and now it's doing a natural release for 5 minutes. And then once 5 minutes hits, got 2 more minutes, we will just release the rest of the pressure, and I'll show you what we got. This is a salsa verde chicken. So I did a pound of chicken and a jar of salsa verde. So easy. And then you just turn it on. Okay, so while that's waiting, we will move on to knives. So when it comes to knives, your best friend is the chef's knife. I think between all the knives, you should have a good chef's knife and a good paring knife. My favorite, we like the German brands like Henkel and Wusthof. This is a Henkel. It's really worth investing in your knives, and you can get them sharpened, and you should get them sharpened every 6 to 12 months, depending on how heavily they're used. I would probably say 6 months. We take ours to a farmer's market that has a knife sharpener there. There are also companies that you can mail in your knives and they send them back to you sharp. But I think someone says, I don't know who, but a dull knife is a dangerous knife or something like that. It can put you at more risk if you're trying to work with a dull knife. So you definitely want to work with a sharp knife. This is a paring knife. So you can see the difference. This is for small tasks. This is for general chopping, big tasks. So these are the main two that I would invest in. You can also invest in kind of like a smaller mid-range knife. We use this one a lot too. What I would not invest in is a bread knife. We just went to Bed Bath & Beyond, got a cheap bread knife, and the reason being because it's serrated, you can't get it sharpened. So it's going to get dull eventually, and you want something cheap that you can just replace easily. So don't buy an expensive bread knife. Okay, we're at 5 minutes of this naturally releasing. I just take a kitchen towel, I put it over the spout, and we're going to release the rest of the pressure. You'll hear a nice hissing sound for a little bit, and it will reduce the pressure enough so that we can open it. While that's doing its thing, I'll talk about blenders. We have a great quality blender. It is a Vitamix. Vitamix has a really great name for being powerful, for being a good quality blender. It's going to last a long time. So this is a great investment. But another brand that I like, there's a Ninja Professional series that I think is a great quality blender for a lower price point. But I definitely would have a blender for blending soups, for making smoothies, making sauces, pestos, whatever. It's beneficial. I would say a blender is more useful than a food processor. I have one. I'm going to use that for making hummus, pesto, chopping vegetables really finely, maybe for falafel dough and different types of doughs, but you're really not going to use that daily or weekly. It's not a very, so maybe that's for more of your seasoned chef if they don't have one. But blender is more useful. And if you want to go even easier, we have the Immersion Blender, which I didn't want, but my husband did, so we got one. And little did I know, I actually use it a lot. So it is really nice because it's easier to clean than the full blender. So this is a Kitchenaid Immersion Blender, and I'm just going to show you how to make a smoothie real quick. You know I love to make smoothies on here. You can also use it for sauces, dressings, soups, things that blend relatively easily. If it's harder or lots of ingredients, I mean, you may want to use a full blender, but it can also be used to whisk up eggs. If you're whisking 2 eggs for your morning scrambled eggs, maybe not worth it, but if you're doing like a big egg bake, big casserole, and you're whisking 12 eggs, it's super easy. So I definitely like it for that. So, smoothie time. I have, this is the cup that came with the Immersion Blender, and I tend to just blend things in it because it's easy. I have about 3/4 of a cup of kefir in here. That's a great smoothie base that I like for the probiotics. It's a little bit more liquidy than yogurt, and it gives you some protein. So we got the kefir. You can use almond milk, cow's milk, any kind of milk, water, juice. Oliver's looking at the bananas. I'm just gonna throw in a couple chunks of frozen banana. The Immersion Blender will work with frozen fruit. So I got some banana, I got some frozen berries. I usually like to do just blueberries, but we didn't have any, so we're doing mixed berries. I have a bag of spinach. When I buy these, and if I don't use it, I just throw it into the freezer before it goes bad. And so you get this kind of like frozen spinach mixture. Do a little bit of spinach. And then I grabbed some ground flaxseed and some cacao powder, which I just like to add to smoothies for the omega-3s, the fiber, and then the cacao is a great source of magnesium, so I like to add that in. And you could add other things. Nut butters would be okay to add in here. The flax is ground already. You don't need a high-powered blender to grind it. So yeah. I'm gonna kind of push some stuff down so that the liquid gets over the little holes. I'm just gonna start working my way down. Making a pretty thick smoothie. You could thin it out with some more like water or milk or something like that. What you don't want to do is lift it up too much because it has little holes in the blender and it'll spray you. So. Okay, and we are blended up. It's that easy, and then all you have to do, pop off the blender, and then you just wash this. So easy. And sometimes I just drink it out of the cup, because why dirty another cup? So we have a smoothie. So I really like the Immersion Blender. It's a gadget that not everyone has, but it's actually pretty useful. Okay. I wanted to talk about pans real quick. On our blog, I forgot to mention, there is a blog about our top 10 kitchen gadgets. And so a lot of these are on there. If you want links to see specific brands that we like, you can go there. We'll link that blog in the comments section. And one of the pans that is mentioned is a wok or a deep pan. This is, what is this? An all-clad. So it's nice to invest in some good quality pans so that they last longer. But with that, especially with coated pans like this all-clad, you want to take care of it. So in particular, your utensils, you want them to be rubber or plastic. You don't want to use metal because you're going to scrape the coating and ruin your pans really fast. So if you're going to invest in coated pans, invest in the right utensils to use them, using them. I like the wok because it's good for, like, if you're meal prepping a big dish, maybe a stir fry or something like that. You can get a lot in there without spilling over if you have a more shallow pan. That's nice. You can do stainless steel as well, so you don't have to worry about the scraping, the type of utensil you use with that. Or you can do some cast iron. What I really like about cast iron is how long it lasts. I mean, it's a solid piece. It's not expensive. The Lodge cast iron dishes are not too expensive. And once it's seasoned, it's practically non-stick. So that's really nice. And if you're iron deficient, it gives you a little bit of iron as you cook with it. Whew. So that's nice. Back to the Instant Pot. So the pressure is released. This little knob will drop down when the pressure is low enough for you to open it. Okay, I'm gonna open that up. So we got some chicken in there in salsa verde. Basically I just take some forks and I just start to shred the chicken. I'm not going to do all of this because that would take too long, but you shred the chicken so that it's in pieces. You can see it's shredding really easily. You can also take it out to shred it, and then you just add it back in. Now what you'll notice is it's kind of watery in here. The chicken released juices. So what I would do, the nice thing about the Instant Pot versus like the slow cooker, is you can just put it on saute and it's going to start to essentially boil. And so a lot of this liquid is going to come off, and so that it's going to kind of thicken up. So that's nice. And then you have salsa verde chicken, which is really nice to throw on a taco, throw on a taco salad, use in a quesadilla or a enchilada, whatever. And if you didn't want it to be salsa verde, you could use really any sauce that you want. Barbecue sauce, chicken broth, just for plain shredded chicken. So that's nice about the Instant Pot. Okay. And we got the dog barking. Okay. That's enough. The last couple things that I wanted to talk about are, real quick, some things for the beginner cook. Maybe they don't have these things. Would be thermometer, meat thermometer, a set of measuring cups. Also a set of liquid measuring cups would be really helpful because you don't want to measure your liquid in these types of cups. It's not accurate. And a set of measuring spoons. So it seems pretty simple, but not everyone has these in their kitchen, and it just makes cooking a lot easier. Now the meat thermometer, a lot of people don't use it, and then I have people who are complaining about, my chicken's always dry, or I can't cook fish right, or whatever it may be. And if you're not using a meat thermometer, that's usually a reason why you may be overcooking or undercooking. So I like digital. You don't have to calibrate it, and just stick it into the largest part of the meat. You get a reading, and this one even comes with what temperatures each of your proteins should be. So we also have some information on that on our blog and in our book, Nourished. Okay, a couple other easy gadgets that you could throw in a stocking or whatever. A citrus squeezer, great for adding lemon or lime juice to any recipe, and a zester. We use this for a fine grate of Parmesan cheese on the pasta, or for ginger, garlic, or citrus zest. All right, now on to some of our less necessary items. This is a Sous-Vide Wand. I don't use it that often, so this is really for someone who maybe has everything and just wants some other fun kitchen gadget. You stick it in a pot of water, and it brings that water up to a specific temperature. And then you put vacuum sealed meats into that water, and it'll bring your meat up to that temperature without overcooking it, which is kind of cool. So it keeps it moist. And then you can also take it out and sear it if you want a little color on it. But it's just an interesting kind of kitchen tool. Again, not super necessary, so maybe for your more experienced cook. A spiralizer. So if you are finding yourselves buying spiralized zucchini in particular all the time, you're paying more for the processing of that zucchini. So it can be useful to get yourself a spiralizer. I don't use this that often, so that's why I kind of put it in the maybe category. But it's fun. You can spiralize a lot of different vegetables. So this is a Paderno brand. We like it. And then finally, for your baker, bread is super in season now with COVID. So if you wanted to get your baking friend or family member some Banneton baskets, this is a proofing basket. You let the bread rise in this for the last proof. It gives it some pretty swirls on it. And some bench scrapers. This helps get dough off of something, like out of the bowl, and you can curve it, so that's really useful. Or this helps get you off of a straight surface. And actually, this is really useful if you're chopping a bunch of stuff and you want to transfer it into your pan. You can just use this with your hand and transfer a lot more items at one time. So a bench scraper can be a useful tool for anyone. Whew, I'm tired of talking. That was a lot of stuff to go through. So thanks for joining us. I hope this gives you some ideas if you're last minute shopping for any of your family or friends. We hope everyone has a safe holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Sorry about the dog crying. Yeah, so thanks for joining me. I'm gonna drink a smoothie real quick. So, bye guys.